Hello, everybody. My technological challenge showed up, and so unfortunately, uh, we started. The title today, Change Can Be Scary, but let's embrace it. In the 1980s, my friend Lou, who was a successful songwriter, in fact, he wrote the, the hit Things Get a Little Easier Once You Understand, and wrote uh, Find a Wheel and It Goes Round, Round, Round. And he wrote this song, Things Get a Little Easier, during the drug epidemic. And in 2 days, the song flew to the top of the charts until people who didn't want to hear the truth became angry and wrote their stations, and they shut the song down. The song was an incredible hit. Over 1 million people. And that's what I want to focus on today. Things get a little easier once you understand. And the reason you're here today is the reason I need you. And you're either going to follow and listen to me or you're not. But if you don't follow where I go today, then the truth is, deep inside, you want magic. And magic is an illusion. Magic doesn't exist. The reason we are overweight is because we are addicted to food. And I wrote down so I would recall the struggle between caring, reacting, and impulse, and resisting. The difference between acting on impulse and resisting. The truth is, if we do not understand where and how we came to today, we're never going to conquer the problem. There are no successful programs out there, regardless of what anybody tells you. The rate of recidivism is incredible. 85% of the people who go through all three phases of our program are keeping the weight off on the average of 8 years. The key, though, is to recognize that it took a lifetime to get you where you are today, and you want to get it off tomorrow. There are means of getting weight off. All of them impact on your body. All of them cause metabolic changes. All of them cause your body to react in different ways which are not good for you. AccuWeight, as you know, does not cause any metabolic changes. In fact, AccuWeight loss heals the body. Now, in the next few minutes, I want to go through something so that we understand. And if you don't listen and you don't take from it, then I'm sorry, it's your loss. The world started, based upon my understanding, with Adam and Eve. And from Adam and Eve, all of us, every single one of us, have the same root. And the miracle of all of that is no matter where you go in the world, each of us has the same bodily function. All of us are the same. Mutations have occurred over the years, but no matter where you go in the world, except for the fact that the culture is different, we all can fit in. What has happened, however, is society has developed. And in the process of that development, something occurred, and that is fish stay with fish, whales stay with whales, alligators stay with alligators, giraffes stay with giraffes, people stay with people, but people have separated. They have their own enclaves, they have their own cultures, they have their own methods of operation. But regardless, the basic issues for all of us are exactly the same. Now, what I'm saying here is something critically important. Magic does not exist in a meaningful way. If I were a magician, I could create illusions and make you believe. But illusions don't last. They have things behind them that are not real. And if you're here today, what you really want to do is change your life. Because weight is simply a symptom of something else. Now, all of you know that I spent 50 years as a psychologist. Now, psychology and therapy are terrific, but there's no magic there. It requires insight, sensitivity, patience, work, honesty, verbalization, sharing. Not everybody wants to do that. People resist because uncovering the truth about themselves is scary. Recognizing that our past histories direct our present day behaviors is scary. But did you ever notice People who love to dance relate to people who love to dance. People who love to garden relate to people who love to garden. People who are overweight tend to relate to people who are overweight. Did you ever notice one person is heavy, is friendly with other people who are heavy, and they get heavy together? Because they influence each other in ways that are on some level subliminal, but on other ways, they're genetic. In the fact that the genes that they share with each other, the places we go, the things that we do, the togetherness that we have, we share those kinds of things, and we also share bacteria. And that bacteria impacts on how our bodies work. Now, here is the important thing. Every single one of us is an addict. We struggle with what we should do and temptation. And that struggle is never ending. And because food is absolutely required, it's an addiction that will never, as far as usage is concerned, lose its power. None of us can live without food, some kind of nourishment. And what has changed dramatically is that almost every interaction amongst human beings, and we are social human beings, almost every single gathering, on some level or another, food is involved. So the key then is, how do we live with food, feel good about it, and at the same time be healthy? Do we look forward to, or do we shy away? People use distraction. People use illusion to believe. I'll give you a simple example of a huge change that has occurred in our society here in the States. Can you imagine, and I got this from the agricultural department, the average human in the United States takes in 222 pounds of meat every year. 222 pounds of meat. Now, meat is a protein. We need protein to live. But 222 pounds, I think you'll agree with me, that sounds kind of excessive. What it does is it affects our gut. You ever hear the statement, I have a gut feeling? My gut tells me that. Well, science has discovered that your gut is also like your second brain. It impacts on your total bodily system. And if you don't pay attention to your gut, then all kinds of illnesses develop. So the reason I'm talking to you today is to understand that once we understand truly what we're dealing with, we can address it. If you don't pay attention and you don't have the understanding of what is going on, how will you deal with it? Now, the truth is, I'm not going to answer that. I forgot to shut off my cell phone, so I apologize for that. Now, what I'm saying to you is that our physical being and our gut are critical for us to understand. A healthy gut causes us to have a healthy body. A gut that is out of control and a hypothalamus that is not functioning normally are the reasons you and I are facing each other. And unless we understand the basics, the dynamics of how we can deal with it, we're not going to be able to create a process that we truly can live with. One of the things that I've told you over the years when it comes to red meat, it takes 2 to 5 days for it to clear our systems if we have a gut that is fully functioning. So therefore, whatever happens to meat in our system is going on from 2 to 5 days, and your body is having the need to deal with it. Now, let's take a look. What causes us to be overweight, and what causes us to be normal? The answer is not that we take in too many calories, but how those calories are used. I'm not sure if you really understand the difference between a, let's call it fast metabolism, and a slow metabolism. We want to rev up our slow metabolism. Now, by revving up your slow metabolism, you're using more energy, you're cannibalizing the body, the digestive process is altered, and your body becomes depleted. A slow metabolism, believe it or not, is much healthier because a slow metabolism uses less energy over a long period of time, so you get more out of it without depleting the body. The Chinese discovered, and it's one of the roots of this program, that if you eat for a 6 to 10 hour period of time and don't eat for a 4-hour period of time, the body will use the energy that it has available and will heal itself during those 14 hours where you don't eat. Not only that, but during that period of time, and all of you know that one of the biggest problems all of us face when you take your child or your own temperature, inflammation is a major problem and tells us what is going on within our symptoms. Now, one of the things I saw Dr. Chu do was examine a patient and never touched him. And what he did was, as close as he came to the patient, he ran his hand over his body, never touching him, and was feeling for areas of heat, of inflammation. And on the basis of that experience, he was able to define what was going on. When there is no inflammation, then there is health. When there is inflammation, there is trouble. Now, what I'm saying is, lowering the heat in your body is a very good thing. And the reason it's a very good thing is because one of the major issues that has to be addressed is something called triglycerides. Now, I don't want to get into the whole issue of cholesterol. Cholesterol has never been a problem. In fact, one of the things that some of my physician friends have taught me is that C-reactive protein, which is a measure of inflammation in your veins and arteries, is a terrific measure of the health of your circulatory system. And your circulatory system is critical because the blood that flows through that entire body carries nutrients and oxygen. And when it's inflamed, that system is not working properly, and disease will follow. Now, what I've said here is that if you understand that you have a problem between I want and I shouldn't, and that problem is complicated by the experiences you've had in life. When I was a therapist, when I was a psychologist, I helped people verbalize those problems because everybody has the answer. They just don't know that they have the answer because their minds are clouded by their experiences. Think about the fact that something has occurred and we have 4 witnesses, and we question them separately. What are the odds that those 4 individuals who witnessed the incident have 4 different pictures of what happened? Some of what they say absolutely is correct. Some notice things that others didn't notice. Some notice things that didn't exist because their memory of it was clouded by what was going on as they watched that event. One of the reasons I love AccuWeight is that we can understand the reality of what I just said and have tools to deal with it. One of the biggest things we talk about is self-respect, self-love, talking about oneself, liking the who that we are. And when we are in control, we feel terrific. And when we are control and like how we behave, we like and respect the self that we are by acting and behaving in a manner that keeps us in control and at the same time happy with the way we behave, our bodies actually change. We get healthier. The system works more efficiently. On the other hand, as I've said to you, the power of food is never going to diminish. We were fed within hours of being born. And the power of that comfort that was given to us. And remember, that power that was given to us of comfort and food was complicated by the fact that we were totally taken care of in the womb. We did nothing for ourselves. And we were powerless and helpless when we were born. And we had gone from 100% being taken care of to 0%. And food and comfort eased our pressure. And therefore, that power, when we are faced with situations and circumstances, cause us to behave in manners that don't help us in conquering. We use distraction, and our systems are not functioning properly. They're out of balance. Now, here is the point. When you are in control and you like how you behave when you are in control, your entire system begins to function on a more positive level. We can live longer, we can live healthier, we can have more energy, our minds are clearer, our ability to do things is easier. But in order to do that, we need to create a lifestyle that addresses the fact that it's scary to change. Now that's what we're dealing with. And we resist, and we have a huge problem. The thing that we are addicted to, food, will never go away. And it will never go away for the reasons I gave you. It's power, it's comfort, the fact that we need it. And so, the fear of change is what we are all about. Now, here's what's important. Change does not mean unhappiness. Change means that we alter our behaviors, and as we get more comfortable with our change in behavior, we become more accepting. Our mood and our system functions more efficiently. Those changes become accepted by us, and our systems get healthier. Now, I have a patient in Florida who needed knee surgery. He didn't want knee surgery, but he couldn't walk because his weight was incredible, and every pound that he lost was approximately 4 pounds of pressure off his knees. His physician wanted him to have knee replacement. He was fearful of the surgery. And the doctor said to him, okay, we have to lose weight, and supported him in doing accurate weight loss. And what was wonderful is when he lost the weight, his knees began to heal, and he no longer needs to have surgery. What changed? What changed was his behavior. He stopped giving in to people who gave him comfort with food. The distraction of food, when he was sitting there, his knees didn't bother him. When he got up, that's when they bothered him. And so when he sat, people would offer him food. And those people felt good because he enjoyed the food and would thank them for giving him food. Until the pain and the overweight got his attention because he needed surgery. Now, that's one simple example of a quality of life change when he faced his fear, controlled his methodology for eating food, made himself important enough to structure, and in this case it was the program. Now, getting through that resistance first requires a commitment on your part. Nothing is going to happen in a positive kind of way until you decide that you are important enough to yourself to treat yourself in a manner which will help change the problems that exist in your life. And in our circumstance and situation, we don't have to explore as we do in therapy. We have tools. We have structure. We have commitment. And what we also have, and this is the interesting thing, I don't like sharing. And because I don't like sharing, I don't tell people what my problem is. And because I don't tell people what my problem is, I create solutions, sometimes involving other people, which maintain me and make my problem worse. At the same time, I use distraction and self-deceit. Oh, I'll only do it now. Oh, it really isn't a lot. Oh, how could a little? And I can make a million different excuses. And all they are is resistance to self-respect, to liking my behavior, and getting through the fear of change. And that in itself, I've told you, is the interesting thing, is because even though we resist change, change is inevitable. Nothing is ever exactly the same. No matter how we do it, no matter how we work at it, change is inevitable. So if change is inevitable, what stops us from committing to ourselves? And here's the other problem. When you don't talk to anyone else, when you don't share with anyone else, you can't learn from their experience. One of the wonderful things about good therapy is when you share, you're being accepted and not judged. One of the wonderful things about our support groups is that you can remain anonymous. I'm George S. Hi, Georgie. Hi, my name is Ben. Are you overweight, Georgie? Yeah, I am overweight. Yeah, me too. How are you dealing with it? Everybody has processes and procedures. We can learn from each other. We can teach each other. And when we share with each other, we get to experience another perspective. You don't have to agree with anyone, and you don't have to disagree with anyone. One of the things I told you is that I recognize that there are many people who disagree with me. And from their point of view, I am wrong. Now, just because they think it doesn't make it so. And just because I think it doesn't make it so. But if I share with them and they share with me and I get other perspectives, and those perspectives are honest, not trying to manipulate me and get me to agree with what it is that is going on with them, then change can occur. And that's the important thing. Most of the people who criticize me, and this is really important, have no idea whatsoever of what makes AccuWeight work. They have no idea at all. They do not understand the chemistry. And they're not interested. And one of the things that I want you to understand is if you don't understand, then you're easily manipulated and easily swayed towards comfort as opposed to helpful change. Now think about this. AccuWeight is a chemical weight loss program that uses acupressure and a food program that basically simulates that of a 10-month-old. Now, if you've ever seen a 10-month-old, you know that's one of the fastest periods of growth for humans. So whatever that diet is, it seems to work. The acupressure helps it work because it's calorie restricted and your body does not go into starvation mode. And remember, what starvation mode does is cannibalize your body. Now, if you don't use drugs and you don't use hormones, and you simply change your food intake and use the acupressure, your body is the smartest thing around. It knows how to heal itself. And what does it do? It heals itself. One of the things we know that grains and beans, a lot of animal protein, are not good for us. It's true. Our program tells you, be careful, don't use the grains, don't use the beans, don't use the foods that will harm you. Now, wheat and beans were not, in early human times, available. It's a present manufacture of and use of gluten and gluten type of foods that cause us problems, added with all the chemicals and preservatives that they put in. You don't give your body an opportunity to heal itself because you don't understand and run away from the true understanding. Now, here's what's important. Are you important enough to join with others? And please, anonymity and safety are wonderful kinds of things. Today, for example, I have yet not had one question asked of me. Usually I get them on the screen and they pop up. I got 2 telephone calls during the week. Both people had seen one of my videos. And one of them said, Dr. Schwartz, I haven't been to you in 7 years, but I took the risk of calling you. And said to me, I have a stupid question. And I stopped them. And I said, help me understand. If you do not know the answer to your question, how can it be stupid? The only stupid question is the one you don't feel important enough about yourself to admit that you're not perfect, you don't know the answer, so ask the question. And when you ask the question, you take care of yourself. And the more you take care of yourself, generally speaking, the better the quality of your life. I have a friend who is a professional and was walking around for years with mood swings, mostly depression. Never deep, but never feeling good. And one day he said to me, "You know, your mood seems never to change. How do you do it? Why are you so calm?" And I said, "I'm not always calm. I control my feelings, I think, and I try to do things." And I said, "Why do you ask me?" He said, "Because I have these moods." And I said to him, "I'm going to give you an amino acid. Give it a try." He called me 2 hours later after ingesting it and said, "What did you do to me?" And I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "I can't remember the last time I felt so much better." His system was chemically imbalanced. I don't know why, but I knew from experience that that might be helpful. It's an amino acid, and it worked for him. That's what we are all about. Putting your system in balance in a healthy kind of way, not using drugs, not using hormones. Yes, we recommend vitamins. Yes, we recommend minerals. You've heard me say, especially with winter coming up, that everybody should be taking vitamin D3. The sun does not impact on you in the winter. You could lie out there naked and your body will not make vitamin D3. And D3 is an immense immunity vitamin. I also tell people to use vitamin C. In fact, you've heard me recommend liposomal vitamin C because it's nanotized. It doesn't cause an upset in your stomach. You can take a higher dose, and it strengthens your cell wall and is an antioxidant. And those two things together are very helpful in keeping you well. It's not diet, it's not hormones, it's simple chemistry. Now, the rest is up to you. We're going to share, we're going to learn, we're going to work at changing our behaviors. And with that feedback, let's improve our lives. Questions? I keep hearing about electrolytes. Why should I use them and which ones do you recommend? Number one, the two that I recommend are Noon and Ultima. There are many out there. Electrolytes are chemicals that cause our electrical system to work more efficiently. Generally speaking, the electrolytic waters that you drink are very expensive and have minimal electrolytes in them. If you exercise and perspire on a hot summer day, those are times we should replenish our electrolytes. If you've ever seen a football game in December and the temperature is in the 50s, and all of a sudden one of these huge linemen just collapses, and they take him off in a gurney, and when they get him into the locker room, they put an IV in his arm and try to infuse electrolytes. Some of them are able to return by the end of the game. Others not. Why did they collapse? Because their electrical system was out of balance. Good stuff. Let's learn about them. Let's use them. I just saw Flavor God cheese online. Is it allowed? The answer is yes. The answer is don't overdo it. It's a nice flavor change. And on palmini with spinach and peppers and onions, and gives it a little cheese flavor on your spaghetti primavera. I'm cold a lot of the time. Is this normal? The answer is yes. And if you recall, in my presentation, I said to you that we're going to reduce inflammation in the body. Now, if we're going to reduce inflammation and you feel a little cold, then your body is getting healthier. So if you feel cold, one of the things I recommend you do is when I'm blocking, there is a spice that I tell people to take. It warms up their blood, and I'm blocking on it now, so I apologize. I drank all my milk and have had so much water, but still feel hungry. I heard my friend is allowed a hard-boiled egg. May I have one too? The answer is possibly yes. I don't have enough information to fully answer that question. Ours is a chemical program, so we have to look at, sometimes an egg is warranted. It has some extra protein in it. It has some B vitamins in it. It has some fat in it. Good things and sometimes helpful. But let's look at each case individually before we change our regimen. When I start, how long will it take to see the difference in how my clothes fit? One of the things I recommend is that you take your phone and take a frontal and profile picture. Now it's personal, it's private. And every 2 weeks, take another one. You should begin to feel some change in how your clothes fit in 2 to 3 weeks. And remember, I've stood by for 25 plus years promising you a minimum of up to 15 or more pounds every month. Thank you for listening. I hope you send in questions. I'll see you soon. 973-243-0777. Dr. S at AccuWeight.com. DRS@AccuWeight.com. Take care.